Good morning, St. Kitts Nevis. It's December 7th, 5 minutes after 8 o'clock, and it's time for Island Tea. We got K in the big AZ on board.
I know, we're busy pouring our tea while Jams is introducing, and I'm forgetting I can't take anything out of the tea. There will be extras because we have cumin, we have the black pepper to activate it, and we also have ginger. So we're over here getting...
Wow.
How should I say? Not hot, but we're getting the inflammation down.
You ever tried it with the coconut milk? You know, the coconut milk activated because
activate the turmeric as well?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I only know the black pepper.
Coconut milk, because it's also activated by fats, but coconut milk is what is usually recommended.
Oh, no.
If you don't do black pepper.
Oh, I only knew about the black pepper, but it's nice.
It tastes
and
really
hot.
good. Oh my God.
With coconut milk?
Oh my God.
Next time.
You just had to add that little bit of sweetness in it.
I know.
You just had to add a little bit of sweetness.
This morning before I gave him this, I said, I know you're sweet enough with hair.
Well, I'm definitely coming around for some of that today. I was supposed to come yesterday and I forgot. You all didn't remind me.
You don't study us.
He don't study us at all. He runs us out.
Black tea, moringa basil.
You see, it's fancy tea. Well, we have our
no fancy.
We have our
come
healthy tea over here.
No.
Say it again. We have turmeric with
Black pepper and ginger.
Mm-hmm.
So how is it, Azard?
Wow, with ginger too. I didn't even
It
catch
has
that
a
before.
spice. It has a zing. At the end of it, you got a
Wake
zoom.
you up.
Oh.
That's it.
Azard, don't drive off the road with me, no?
Azard, take it easy, hon. Take it easy. And it's nice and hot today.
Yes.
I made sure I poured at the last minute, Izzy. I didn't want to pour it as soon as I got in because I'd be like, I know the mug doesn't work in our favor, but I said,
Yes. So
sorry, mug.
We have such a nice blend this morning.
Yep. Waking us up, giving us the zing.
But guys, a lot of things have been happening. And I look at the news and Venezuela, Guyana. It is, as we talk about the tea this morning being hot. I think that what is happening is getting very hot over there.
Very.
Yes, Venezuela has already indicated and said to its people, they could start the exploration and exploitation and mining in that region, the Essequibo, region.
Which is basically like an invasion through the back door.
Exactly.
They have already held a referendum in which, though persons criticize the number of persons who have voted in that referendum based on the population of Venezuela, they boast that they have a 95% approval based on those who voted.
Nonsense.
And so we have heard, if you listen to the news, you hear the president of Guyana basically saying that they are going to do what they can to protect their region, to protect their state, and to protect the Essequibo region. And if persons have been looking at what is happening, they will realize that the Essequibo, that represents currently approximately 2/3 of Guyana's landmass.
Do you see the fact that he has tried to add it in his, he's tried to add it in his map? Do you see how much of Ghana he would have taken as a?
Yes, Venezuela is looking pretty large with that extra. It's already large, but it's looking pretty large.
It's ridiculous. It doesn't even match the poor map that he had before. He just needs to leave Guyana alone. I'm tired of it.
And, Guyana has said that Venezuela is doing this in contradiction to international law. We realized that there had been in 1989 an arbitrational 1899. Sorry, I said 1989.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my birth. Yeah.
Showing off on us.
1899, right? In 1899, they had the arbitration and the award, and at that time, Guyana was still a colony of Britain, and they would have established the region for Guyana. And we realize that Venezuela now, especially, they have had disputes back and forth, but when they realize more and more that there are minerals, resources, and such forth in that area, you see that it has escalated to where it is now.
Drastically. And I saw a news article that basically said that he is doing this now to overshadow the fact of free and fair election. But this is bigger than free and fair election. I don't know how it's... Well, maybe it's going to overshadow because everybody's going to be paying attention to that while he gets himself back in there unfairly.
I did hear a comment about that, saying
Yeah.
that the elections are to be soon, I
Yes.
think as early as next year, and that the U.S., even though they have indicated their position with Guyana, have also been pushing Venezuela to have free and fair elections. And so now the U.S. might be in a very ticklish position, where it is that even though they support the Guyana, as they have said, they still want to ensure they have been working with Venezuela and, cooperating, hoping that they would have a free and fair election.
And also, I don't know if you know that during when Russia invaded
Ukraine?
Ukraine,
Uh-huh.
the Americans had approached Biden had approached the Venezuelans about providing the shortfall in oil, so that because that was one of the pillars in cutting back on selling oil to Russia, so that they would to make it harder for them to fund the war. So this is all very ticklish for
Mixed up.
all parties involved, I
Yeah.
guess.
I pray nothing happens because I have friends on the oil rigs in Guyana and I don't want anything to happen to them. Although they gave them 3 months to vacate or whatever, if they don't move, I don't want anything to happen to them.
And
He can't do anything. He just says a lot about.
But
Well,
look, he
actually-
says he already appointed a governor. Like somebody asked him for a governor. Nobody even wants
Exactly,
his ID. He better take
exactly.
the ID and go back to Venezuela.
Exactly.
It's like he want me to come
This
down
is
there.
really Putin-esque behavior, actually, when you think. These are all things out of the Putin playbook, things that he's done very recently.
But the former administration was the same way. So you think that he was Putin too?
Well, he seemed, he had way more charisma than this guy. This guy is basically like a block of wood running a country, I mean, I don't know.
So Hugo Chavez was better than Maduro.
Well, no, I'm just saying he was, it's a matter of being a charming criminal, sort of, as opposed to,
An abrasive one.
yeah, or a boring one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's this article from the president of Guyana. He says that he is preparing to defend. He says that Guyana is preparing to defend itself from Venezuela. Guyana's president Ali told the Associated Press on Wednesday that his country is taking every necessary step to protect itself from Venezuela, which has ordered its state-owned companies to explore and exploit oil and minerals in Guyana's vast Essequibo region that it considers its own. When asked if he has requested military assistance, Ali said his government is reaching out to allies and regional partners, some of which Guyana has defense agreements with, to protect the Essequibo region, which makes up to 2/3 of the country. This is a quote. He says, "We take this threat very seriously, and we have initiated a number of precautionary measures to ensure the peace and stability of this region," end of quote. He noted that Guyana's defense force is also speaking with counterparts in other countries, but didn't say which these were. He has a quote that says, "Should Venezuela proceed to act in its reckless and adventurous manner, the region will have to respond. And it is what we are building. We're building a regional response." That's an end of quote. And Ali said a day after Venezuela President Maduro said that he would immediately grant operating license for the exploration and exploitation in Essequibo and order the creation of local subsidiaries of Venezuela public companies, including Giant Oil, PDVSA, and Mining Conglomerate Corporation, Venezuela de Guyana. So things are really heating up in that situation, and we're hoping that there is some sort of amicable conclusion, amicable resolution to what is pending and escalating pretty fast.
We even see China urging Guyana and Venezuela to settle dispute through dialogue. But I don't think he wants to do that. He's just a meanie that just wants to take over, because there's a headline that says Maduro orders immediate expansions into Guyana Essequibo. No, stay home. Where are you going? You don't belong over there.
China needs to go sit down.
Well, the fact that China is saying they need to talk, that's good. And because we don't need any more wars. This is crazy.
Yes.
We don't need any more wars. They're just trying to ruin.
Well, Mr. Ali was on CNN on, I think it was yesterday. And I just wanted to bring that to you guys.
You have the clip, right?
Yeah, here we go. Okay, let's see.
Welcome back, everyone. In Latin America, tensions are rising between Venezuela and neighboring Guyana. It's over this chunk of land that you can see there in lines in orange and green. That's the Essequibo region, a potentially oil-rich territory, which is a part of Guyana. And this is not just a dot on a map, as you can see. This region makes up 2/3 of the country. Venezuela has claimed the land since the late 19th century, but President Nicolas Maduro has escalated this claim, announcing his move to take over the region. Have a listen.
Immediately, we'll proceed to give operating licenses for the exploration and exploitation of oil, gas, and mines in all our Guayana Esquiba.
Yesterday, Mr. Maduro is now showing his vision of a new map of Venezuela, including the disputed territory, saying all residents from the area would be granted Venezuelan nationality. Well, over the weekend, a referendum was held, as you know, where more than 95% of Venezuelan voters reportedly approved a new Venezuelan state in the region. Important that, you know, we take this with a pinch of salt in terms of the electoral results there coming from Venezuela. Well, across the border, Guyana is ringing alarm bells. President Irfan Ali calling this move by Maduro a, quote, direct threat to his country. Have a listen.
The measures announced are in blatant disregard of the order given by the International Court of Justice on December 1st, 2023. Guyana views this as an imminent threat to its territorial integrity and will intensify precautionary measures to safeguard its territory. We will not allow our territory to be violated, nor the development of our country to be stymied by this desperate threat.
And context here is important. Essequibo has been part of Guyana since 1899, when international law set the current boundaries, and Guyana was still a British colony. Venezuela has long sought to control the territory, and the discovery of the oil off Guyana's coast in 2015, as you can see there in that US field that we can point out in the dotted lines, has helped flame the current dispute. The International Court of Justice is now warning that Venezuela shouldn't take any action in Essequibo, but Venezuela says the court does not have authority to rule on it. Let's get more on all of this. President of Guyana, Irfan Ali, joins me now. Mr. President, thank you very much for joining us this evening on the show. It is very clear from what we just played there, from your statement, that you see this as a direct threat to Guyana's territorial integrity as well as sovereignty. I wonder then what is being done, what conversations you're having with leaders in the region and beyond to stop Maduro from a border incursion.
Well, first of all, I'm very pleased to be here. The International Court of Justice, in its order, prohibited Venezuela from taking any action in relation to the questions in the referendum, which sought to annex Essequibo and to take certain administrative measures in relation to Essequibo. Venezuela went beyond yesterday, not only announcing measures that will annex Essequibo and take administrative measures, but they gave investors within the region 3 months to remove from this area, Essequibo, that is Guyana. So last night, we immediately contacted the United Nations Secretary General. This morning, we have officially written to the United Nations Security Council. As you know, Guyana is a law-abiding country. We believe in the international course of justice. That is why we're before the ICJ, and we believe the ICJ is where this controversy must be settled. But we are taking every precautionary measures against what is now a desperate attempt by Venezuela to seize our territory.
What are those precautionary measures, Mr. President?
So first, we're working at a diplomatic level. We have engaged a number of our allies and friends within the region in relation to defense cooperation. The Department of Defense of the United States and the Guyana Defense Force, they have a very elaborate cooperation pact. They're fully engaged on this matter. We are engaging State Department, we're engaging the White House, President Lula and myself had conversations. So CELAC, CARICOM, Commonwealth, and the OS, they're all engaged on this matter so that they can weigh in ensuring that Venezuela does not act in a reckless or adventurous manner.
In the last 24 hours, you mentioned this, Mr. President, you know, President Maduro put out a new map with his vision, right? His vision here of Venezuela, and that includes Essequibo as part of his vision. Have you seen, though, any signs, either militarily or from your intelligence, that Venezuela is preparing to annex Essequibo? Have you seen Venezuelan forces at all on the border?
So earlier in the month, we saw an increase in Venezuelan presence, military presence on the border. But what is concerning is the statement made by President Maduro to give effect to the questions in the referendum and in the establishment of a state of Essequibo, the issuing of ID cards, and the ultimatum. He's basically given an ultimatum to investors, which includes U.S. investors, Chinese investors, to remove from the region within 3 months. So
are they heeding that call, though? Are they heeding that call? What are you hearing from from those investors?
Well, we have made it very clear to the investors and to every Guyanese that Essequibo belongs to Guyana. In 1899, the borders were settled. Venezuela participated in the settlement of the border. When we were going to independence, they raised a controversy. That controversy is properly before the ICJ, and that is where it will be settled. So we have told our investors they have no fear. We're on the right side of history, the right side of the law, and there is absolutely no fear in investing in Essequibo, which belongs to Guyana.
We have also heard, we're talking about the region and what you're hearing, we've also heard from President Lula of Brazil, and he's calling for common sense. Those are his words. We've also heard from the U.S. State Department, Mr. President, you've seen that, calling for a peaceful resolution on the border dispute between Venezuela and Guyana. Do you feel that these comments go far enough? Do you think that the region is doing enough to denounce Maduro's provocation here?
So CARICOM has issued a very strong statement. The OS has issued very strong statement. Commonwealth has issued very strong statement. We are working now with CELAC so that CELAC can issue a very strong statement. I think President Lula also sent a team into Venezuela to have discussions with President Maduro and his team. That team came back, and what we saw is that Brazil has increased their presence on their border with Venezuela. President Lula has given me assurance that Brazil stands strongly with Guyana, and that they would not see any reckless behavior by Venezuela. We are working now with SOUTHCOM, the Department of Defense, and State Department of the U.S., and hopefully within the next 24 hours, a lot of strong statements and strong communication to Venezuela will be released.
And context, Mr. President, I think it's important here because, just for our viewers who may not know, Venezuela has elections coming up soon. The opposition in the country is getting stronger. How much is this just political posturing or distraction? What have you been advised?
So this is one school of thought, that a lot of this has to do with the internal politics of Venezuela and President Maduro trying to distract from the internal politics. But that is Venezuela issue. What he is doing is creating a direct threat to Guyana and working towards creating instability in the region. And I think the U.S. ought to take this into consideration. We expect President Biden administration would look at the behavior of Venezuela in relation to the sanctions themselves.
Yeah, and that is a very important point. I also I think it's important to add that Russia and President Putin, as you well know, Mr. President, one of President Maduro's allies, given strong allies, and given what we have seen in Ukraine and the fact that Putin remains in the battle and potentially losing financial support, Ukraine's losing potentially financial support from the West or maybe waning, do you think that Putin's actions in Ukraine are enabling this?
And this is another school of thought that Maduro is taking examples out of what occurred in Ukraine. But we believe that in this Western hemisphere, we cannot allow a situation like Ukraine in this Western hemisphere. We cannot allow the annexation of a territory in this Western Hemisphere. That would be something that we have never contemplated in this hemisphere and will disrupt the stability, the peace that we are known for within this hemisphere.
Mr. President, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak to us. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. It was great being here.
Thank you.
So, yeah, that was President Irfan Ali on CNN laying out the whole Venezuela-Guyana drama. So,
and the thing about it is that Venezuela and Guyana, they're within the Caribbean region, and CARICOM, Guyana is a member. It's really unfortunate, and so many things are happening, and we look at war in different regions within the world, and right now we have a situation that has the potential to get worse if it isn't rectified in an amicable way.
What I find interesting is, do you know when elections are due? Okay.
In where, Guyana?
Mm-hmm.
No clue.
Not Guyana, sorry.
Sometime next year,
I'm not sure.
Not sure the exact date.
All the
sure
article says he's basically using this to basically not have free and fair elections. So he wants the people to be focused on this while he cheats.
Yes.
Because
that's another argument.
He wants to stay in to continue this nonsense.
That's another
crazy.
argument.
And he is pulling a Russia-Ukraine situation here because
another argument too is that he is using this to distract persons as to the difficulties in Venezuela, so they don't.
So if indeed he has elections,
yes,
he could say, well, look at,
So he's using this as a distraction tool to build on what you're saying for the election to be succgessual.
Because I thought the 3 months, I was thinking the 3 months.
Guyana's not going to vote for him.
The 3 months isn't.
Even if they get his IDs, they are not going to be his constituents. Guyanese like to eat. He starves people. I'm very sorry, very very sorry. Now he's making me get my accent out, because that can't work. He's not gonna starve us. He's mad.
I'm just thinking that the 3 months might be significant. That's why I asked.
That's why.
Yeah, I was wondering why 3 months.
I'll find out from somebody.
Yeah. So.
But he's just wicked because Russia wants Ukraine back under its rule, right? That's why he invaded, right? Because it was.
And you remember I've been telling you guys over the last few weeks, don't be surprised if Mr. Putin is being Rasputin in the background.
So this,
I don't know if you know about Rasputin in Russian history.
This says that
right?
presidential elections are scheduled to be held in 2024. According to Venezuelan constitution, presidential elections are to take place in December. So it seems like around December 2024.
Okay.
But he still wants everything under his, probably under his hat to say, look what I got you. I got you a whole piece of a country filled with minerals, so we're going to be richer, so vote for me.
I've
That's
done what
he's trying to
others
do.
couldn't do.
That's exactly what he's trying to do.
That's a good point.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's not going to get it. He's not going to get it.
Call, go right ahead.
Yes, good morning, folks.
Hey,
Morning.
Have you heard about the opposition in Venezuela's response to all of this? Do you know if they support the claim? Venezuela?
Well, I haven't heard anything. Have
Because,
you?
see, no, I haven't.
Okay.
Right? And I suspect if, as they say, that the opposition is gaining strength in Venezuela, the U.S. might be hoping for a change of administration there, and an administration that is more sympathetic to U.S. interests. Honestly, I don't feel that the U.S. care two hoots about Guyana, per se. What they are more likely to be concerned with is that their investors, and investments are safe. And if this is leading to a change of administration, they probably would be more comfortable with the new administration in Venezuela And if they still pursue the claim, you will find that the U.S. may be sympathetic to Venezuela as well. It's just a matter of, it's just real politics.
But
geopolitics.
reading
That's
these,
what we were saying before. The
just-
U.S. might be between a rock and a hard place.
I just did a search based on what you posited there. I'll just read the first three. First one says, and this is the New York Times, 12 hours ago. Venezuela orders the arrest of top opposition figures claiming treason. And then there's another one from France, 24. Venezuela opposition leader Machado. He says the Maduro regime is in its weakest position ever. AP News, Venezuela's AG orders arrest of opposition members, accuses them of plotting against the referendum. So I think from that, okay, I'll open one of them and read it further, but I guess at least on its face, it looks like the opposition are not down with Mr. Maduro.
And it's nonsense. Exactly.
Well, you may call it nonsense, but the thing is, he may present a fait accompli that may be hard to, or even if the opposition wins, may be hard to extricate itself from, right? And they may not even want to. Like I said, it's all about the resources that's available there. And once this, I think Guyana might be dependent more on the U.S. than anybody else, right? And I don't think that the U.S. the U.S. is going to be concerned with its interest and not so much the interest of Guyana. I certainly remember they have an election coming up soon too, and I don't think that Biden would want to be in the midst of another war. If while the election is looming. Okay, so I think they'll probably come out with some lukewarm statement, because if they were really for Guyana, they would have already come out with a strong statement. They would have asked the OAS to come out with a strong statement making it clear that any kind of invasion by Maduro will not stand. That has not happened. Instead, you see a more wait-and-see approach. Okay?
Yeah, but that doesn't.
Ghana
I don't
cannot
think.
depend. They might say that they have regional security agreements and so on, but you know that those will not stand if it really comes down to actual fighting between Ghana and Venezuela.
And I don't think at this stage you could say that necessarily the Americans, let's say, wishy-washy on the whole Venezuela issue. It could be that next week we'll hear, aircraft carrier has arrived off the coast of, or something, right? We kind of
we wait and see. Like I said, if it seems, and you can bet your life that the intelligence people are working on this, if it seems that Maduro is going, they would love for it to happen, and they are not going to give Maduro any pretext to galvanize whatever remedial support he has in Venezuela by saying that, there they go again, Yankee imperialism, the usual stuff, interventionist kind of stuff that the U.S. normally gets into. You don't want to give them that argument to help in the election. I am pretty sure they are not so much concerned with what's going. Well, certainly not concerned about Guyana's integrity.
They're concerned about the oil.
Land.
That's all they're concerned about. Money, basically.
Yeah. Once the investors and the investments are safe, that's it. Unfortunately, that's it. And that is why I maintain, I know it's not a popular opinion, but I feel that some kind of negotiation should happen whereby concessions are made in terms of allowing Venezuela to develop that area. It remains Guyanese, but allow Venezuela to develop that area and share the
But why?
resources from it.
Why? I don't know.
Because in any event,
Should we let Antigua share in the geothermal in Nevis?
Huh?
Should we let Antigua Montserrat share in the? I mean, just because they're close by?
No. That's different. Remember, you said this was a long-standing claim, huh? This isn't something that just popped up yesterday, okay? But what I was going to ask, who do you think is going to exploit those resources in that region anyway?
Guyana.
I bet it's the Russian, the Chinese, the Americans, foreign people, not Guyanese companies mainly. So why not Venezuela?
Yes.
But once they get the resources, can they not do it for themselves?
But it's for Guyana.
Guyana can do it itself?
Once they get the resources.
No, but where are these resources coming from?
Well, they have to invest. With all the monies they probably got from the investor, they'll just have to invest it in a smart way. I would hope. I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm not in Parliament in Guyana.
But I'm saying it's probably going to be foreign investors anyway.
Yeah, but that's not the point.
Who's going to be involved in developing?
Point is that it's under Guyana's ambit.
Next door neighbor.
We don't. If Venezuela comes over there and help, they're gonna want full claim to it eventually, even if they pretend to care it.
That could be subject to negotiations. I'm saying.
But Mr. McMahon, we see how negotiations are going now, and they're not going great, because he's not listening.
But the thing about it, this is where the court comes in. There's the ICJ that has the jurisdiction to hear matters like this and come up with a resolution between states. And Venezuela is the one that's saying, no, we're not going there.
Exactly, we're not
You
listening
don't
to
have
that
any
court.
jurisdiction.
Yep.
In fact, they both presented arguments before the court, and the court found that the ICJ is a fit and competent court to hear the matter.
Exactly.
And Venezuela said, okay, no.
This was a
still don't think
Venezuelan
so.
court.
No, the ICJ is
No. You said
it's international.
they were no, I know.
They
I
were
meant-
before the ICJ.
predictable.
Venezuela was there as well, supporting the view that the ICJ doesn't have a jurisdiction.
Conviction in that
Yeah.
area.
But the
that was
court told them
predictable.
otherwise. Told them
You know
otherwise.
that was predictable. But I'm saying that we should de-escalate that situation, keep this area a zone of peace, and there's enough land and resources there for both Venezuela and Guyana to develop, and they should do so as neighbors and not, because to use your analogy, right? Just like how geothermal is in Nevis, and St. Kitts is right next door. And apparently, the sharing of that resource is being considered, right? It's the same thing with Ghana and Venezuela.
But it's two
They're
different
next door
countries.
neighbors.
Two different countries,
There's
different
no
languages,
reason
different
that they should
colonizers.
end up
Even
involved.
if you want to
Exactly.
bring that into it.
I don't. This thing was signed by both countries in 1899. They need to just.
No. Ghana was a colony. Don't say both countries.
Okay, well, it was signed as a colony in 1899. They both agreed to it, so they need to back off. We don't need them helping us to develop anything. You know why? They're gonna want full ownership of it eventually.
But Guyana, Venezuela will always be your neighbor, isn't it? In Guyana,
But they're not being a nice neighbor, so why would you want to deal with a nice neighbor? What are you gonna do? Pray them out, Mr.
And why
McMahon?
would you want to
You should
capitulate?
distinguish between the Venezuelan people and the Venezuelan government. Right?
Yes, but why would
People
you want
always
to?
make that mistake?
Why would you want them? Why would you want
mistake.
Guyana to capitulate to Venezuela and just chop your hands and say, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
come and take
no,
some"?
I said that the territory can remain Guyanese.
No, but why should they? Why should they allow Venezuela to come in? I mean, why should they allow Venezuela to come in and prospect? Why?
No, we don't need
Why
that.
should they allow any other investor, whether from China, North America, or Russia, to
Yes,
come
but
in and
at least it would
But-
be under Guyana's control.
Exactly, and those investors aren't trying to take land that doesn't belong to them. They're using the resources.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying
Yeah,
let
but
the land remain Guyanese, but develop the resources to the benefit of both neighbors. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Man, you picked a weird hill to die on.
What?
You pick a
I'm
very,
trying
that's
to
a
get-
very,
I'm trying to get at an amicable solution.
you're trying to get a win for
because-
both parties in the same instance.
Huh?
You're trying to get a win for both parties.
Can't work.
Yes.
It can't work.
Because as it is right now, the Essequibo region isn't really benefiting either country. It's just there undeveloped. It's only now that they're actually prospecting and investing and so on, right?
You should have seen Kortensia's face just now when you said that.
But the Essequibo region is a farming region, farming and fishing region.
What's that?
The Essequibo region was a farming and fishing region, so it was benefited, wasn't it?
It benefited the indigenous population there in Essequibo, right?
So you're trying
I'm talking about, bearing in mind, it is resource rich.
Mm-hmm.
It requires large-scale investment to really exploit the area. And
That
I'm
is
saying,
true.
whether it comes from Venezuela or it comes from any foreign power or foreign companies, that is what we want for the area to be exploited and proper investment to take place.
Mark, I finally got a call. You can call back.
Yeah. I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
You know, we always getting hung up on borders.
Okay, Mark.
The earth belongs to all of us.
Mark, could you call back? Oh, see, the caller hung up.
okay.
Okay, there was no one calling. Someone just called, but we lost them. But okay, here's hoping. Folks, keep your calls coming if you want to. Okay, I think we have a call here. Caller,
go ahead. You're live on Island T.
Go ahead. Hey, caller, go right ahead.
Morning, everyone. I'd like to contribute to the discussion, specifically in response to what Mr. McMahon is saying. Now, in addressing matters like this, and I am no expert in any shape or form, but we have to take into consideration the decisions that are made and the consequences decisions have. I, in no shape or form, agree with the whole idea of sharing the resources because Venezuela is bigger and better, and the potential war that can come out of that. We have to take into consideration the serious ramifications that can cause globally, because then you're basically telling any madman that, hey, if they see something that they want, go for it, because we're going to just lie down and let you take it. Secondly, again, if it is a situation where internationally, where an accepted body with the authority has made a decision on the matter, how is it then that we are going to give one entity the right to basically say that in no shape or form has any weight or standing? We have to take into consideration precedents. That's my contribution.
Great. We just had, and I just had like 2 or 3 calls there. But okay, folks, keep the calls coming. A very nice way in there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's basically what's going on in Ukraine. There's some people, there's some people in some Europeans who want Ukraine to just throw up your hands and say, "Oh, Russia, okay, just take it." I mean, come on.
But Ukraine has been putting up quite the resistance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Yes, good morning. This is my take on that. Maduro cannot bring in nastiness down here. We don't know that Putin and he walking between the scenes. And we don't want that in the Caribbean.
Not
and
as
I'm calling on every Caribbean personnel and these jokey vagabonds around the Caribbean who lead in this country to be strong. And strong carry come. We don't need them kind of things around here. Well, if you get away with that, look out for it coming down here. Maybe think it's a need. Maybe Mark Wanley come down here telling Joe he want the CBI money. He want all the CBI money. He want for he want all. We don't want them things. I don't want to tell you all. I spoke about the card in home yesterday. And the amount of calls, they're asking me to try to come and take a look. Come and take a look. It's terrible.
Okay, then.
It's terrible. And a warning I am supposed to be the guardian of the poor people on the road. I believe I is the biggest one because I'm going to get up up in the cemetery, Poor people ain't gonna left behind. What used to go on before, ain't going on now. Have a good day. I will be back.
Okay,
Thank you so
great.
much,
And that's what I
Yes.
was saying. That's what I was saying. I was saying earlier. I mean, Putin. I feel like there's a good chance that Putin is in the background.
Yeah.
In Mr.
Maduro's
Maduro's ear,
exactly.
telling him to stir up some confusion and to to provide further distractions from Ukraine and Hamas, because it's being reported that he was also involved in getting Hamas to do what they did when they did.
So he's got so much power? Wow.
Well, yeah, I mean, these guys, they always support. They
I
always
saw an
support
article
these.
that says he's sickly and he has like
Yeah.
4 or so body doubles.
Yeah.
And one of the body doubles messed up a minister's name because it's not him, because he didn't practice enough.
Oh, I didn't see that one. You should send that to me.
Once I go through, I'll
Okay.
send it again.
Call.
Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Yes.
Eternal morning greetings to the Lord, the Almighty Creator in the divine strength, to Brother Jamster, Brother Azard, and Sister Enjoy of African Redemption. How the morning carrying with all?
Good.
Well, thank
yourself?
you.
Well, I cutting up some herb here, so give thanks.
Amen.
Okay. I come join. I could come join
good
you
morning,
afterwards.
Good morning to your listeners by radio. Just to indicate on the caller before jam down. But in such a good vital level of how can we pursue without these consequences being falling in the region and even globally. Now, I follow a little of the details that are taking place because I'm not going to be in a whole and in absorbing matters that are happening in our region and outside our region. We are human beings only and we don't see what's going on. But I would like to say that this time now, these kind of action, we resist from people's territorial bounds. Now, Brother McMahon said that the people them is not using the resources to develop. Sometimes you have to know how to engage your resources in development. In everything you see the global world apply, you have to follow. You have to know how to deal with our resources them around us and how it is going to be benefiting and safeguarding for the next generation. So we won't have no exploitation coming around here. If we really serious about development and social equality, because up to now, none of the leaders in this world is showing us nothing like that. All they are grabbing is economical power and greediness in the same stand.
Okay, we have another call, so we move on. Caller, go right ahead.
Yes. One intervention here again. If we're talking precedent, of course we don't want countries to be going around annexing other countries' territory. We don't want that. But if you're looking at precedent, hasn't that been happening forever? That is what created the problem in Gaza, for instance. Okay, when there was unilaterally just create a state of Israel out of nowhere, right? And so what I'm looking at here is a solution to the current impasse, right? Bear in mind what can possibly happen if there was military conflict. Don't you think that a negotiated settlement is the better way to go? And if you're going to negotiate, you can't expect that the status quo is going to remain the same.
Well, negotiating kind of assumes that Guyana is in a position of weakness. Are they? Is that what you're saying?
They?
I'm asking
yes,
you.
They are.
How?
Yes, they are.
How so?
Militarily, yes.
Also, you're saying might makes right then. So, Venezuela has a. Well, that's what you're saying.
No. I'm talking real politics, geopolitics now, right? And real politics.
What about principle?
Of course.
Shouldn't real politics be tempered tempered by principle?
Guyana has the moral high ground, obviously. Okay, but in the real world, we know that's not how it works. And I'm saying to avoid the kind of mayhem that comes with conflict, you can make a concession which I don't think it's a huge concession because, as I pointed out,
You haven't said.
Right.
You haven't said what position of weakness Guyana is in. What position of weakness are they in?
militarily.
He means
they
militarily.
cannot
Right.
take-
So you're saying right makes right.
If it comes down,
I don't
if it
think
comes
that's
down
good
to a
enough.
Straight fight.
Mhm.
If it comes down to a straight fight between Ghana and Venezuela.
What if everyone
Guyana
did
cannot
that
win.
to a bully? What if
Guyana-
everyone did
Guyana-
that to bullies?
And that's why the court will have
I
been the
know.
appropriate channel to ensure that there is some resolution, and countries, whatever the decision is, would have respected that.
Listen, we all know that, but we also know the world we live in.
Mhm.
And I'm saying that there has been precedent set for this. And what we're trying to do is manage the conflict right now. And I'm saying that there is a way out of this without resorting to the violence and the carnage that usually result from war. That's what I'm saying. Negotiate something. And I'm saying that it's not a big deal for Guyana to suggest that
Okay.
the land remains ours, but you can go in and prospect and invest just like any other foreign investor.
Okay, Mac.
That's
Let's
at least,
Let's take a call. Let's take another call. Caller, go right ahead. Okay, see, I lost it. I was trying to take the call, but I'm sorry. Mac's take is kind of messed up.
We don't want. Just like how
I don't get it.
somebody mentioned on the Facebook that I think it's Britain and America went in to help Venezuela develop their resources, and once they felt they could have handled it, didn't Venezuela kick them out? They certainly did. So I do not think Guyana needs to work with Venezuela. If Venezuela wanted to work with Guyana, they should have.
How you gonna get them out?
Done that before.
Hey, go ahead. Caller.
Miss Henry?
Good morning, Miss Henry. But we don't want them in there.
Oh.
Oh
I don't
boy,
know.
Miss
I don't know
Henry.
what happened. I don't know what happened there just now.
Yeah, Miss Henry had a good point. You can't. Venezuela is not gonna go. They're not gonna be fair. This is greed that's running Venezuela right now. And as we said, he needs a big boost for his elections. So he's gonna do whatever to make people feel, look, I got a whole country to give up, but
Caller, go ahead. Never call.
Hey, good morning.
Finally.
Good morning, Miss Henry. How are you? Sorry about just now.
Girl, here fighting with you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate
I
you.
No, I have some half Guyanese.
That's good. Oh, Lord. Good stuff.
I don't want them to go with my grandchildren share.
Exactly.
Now, what Mr. McMahon said don't make any sense, you know? It don't make... They said the land is there. Say, oh, well, come over, come... How you going to get them off?
Exactly, Miss Henry. Exactly. We see this is run by greed.
It doesn't make any sense to let the neighbor say, well, let me put up my house on your land.
Exactly.
Exactly. And Venezuela doesn't lack oil, you know.
No, they're just greedy.
They got plenty of unexploited
They have the
oil
second.
fields.
I think they have the second highest reserves.
Not
in
only
the
that,
world.
they have tried to, each country has their sea limit. They want to claim right up to Trinidad coast. You understand? There's an island somewhere off
Dominica, yeah.
You
Bird
see how far
Island.
they are away?
Yeah.
They're saying, oh, well, according to the sea limit, well, in that case, all the countries around, they belong to them.
Ridiculous.
So this is nothing new. Once you give in, to me to be foolish, to give in.
Very
just like how
foolish.
they have help, everybody have help,
Exactly.
So it will never be a straight fight between Guyana and Venezuela.
Exactly.
Everyone knows that too. He's talking a fight that he's unwilling. Look how many persons left his country.
Exactly.
I mean, 75% of the people run. So he feels they're going to come back to fight for him.
Maybe he feels once he gets all the oil and the mineral resources, he's going to make Venezuela rich again, and they're going to come back.
The same man does lock up Trinidadian fishermen.
Boy, Guyanese as well, because he likes, as you said, he feels he owns the ocean as well.
It's ridiculous.
When the boundaries overlap, there has to be some sharing.
But
why all of a sudden?
And he doesn't share.
I thought Mr. McMahon is not one of our ambassadors. You know, he's giving away secrets. He give it away to make peace. Look, there got to be some fight for peace, you know.
Yeah.
You can't always give it for peace sake. Because once the person who is trying to dominate you get in, you can't get them out. So are you ready for war? Well, I think he's trying to distract America from Ukraine, man.
Yes.
Something he's trying to help do, Miss Henry. You're not wrong at all.
That's all part of it. That's all part of it. All Guyana got to do, start to look is help now. You understand? Don't wait until the fight starts.
Exactly.
Like how they said the U.S. thing. Well, he playing right into the hands of the U.S. because the U.S. well want to go in. If CARICOM stop them from going in, you know. So now that he wants to subjugate another Caribbean country, America said, why, welcome boy, couldn't have been easier, you know? So.
It must be
pepper peace.
Indeed, that's what we
Guyana
need.
has got to be willing to stand up for what is theirs.
And not give in.
It must be.
Yeah, you know, this, sometimes you wonder. Anyway, people like what might is right.
Yeah.
But they have.
That's basically what Mac was saying.
What you say make no sense.
Yes. It must be terrible take Thursday for Mr. Mac.
Sense.
I don't know, because that was a terrible take as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, make no sense. All let them go and exploit. So where they gonna pump the oil to?
Venezuela.
Guyana.
Exactly, Miss Henry. Venezuela, straight across. He's gonna share. Boy.
I mean, no disrespect to Mr. McMahon, eh?
Yeah, none at all.
That ain't no kind of a solution. All right then.
Yeah,
definitely.
So he knows we love him, but terrible take.
We really have to hope that some sort of
You say amicable. I hope it is, but knowing that we're dealing with a greedy soldier, I don't think.
Call or go right ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am beginning to understand conflicts and the reason for conflicts, all conflicts in the world. We are debating or having this discussion on Venezuela. Like Ukraine, like Gaza, like this, it's all one-sided emotional discussion. I am a parent, I got plenty children. You cannot judge anything, any conflict by deciding that the other party is insane. The parties who are saying such are the people responsible for adding fuel to fire. I mean, Mr. Mac is right. Why don't the parties get together? And nobody, neither Guyana now or Venezuela now, put this thing and create this fusion. As intelligent people, we see the children fighting and they need conflict resolution and all kind of manner of things about the children. They're behaving just like the adults.
Let me ask a question.
Adults is proposing to make peace.
When you finish.
Let us get together as intelligent people and arrive at an amicable position where nobody is at a disadvantage. It's all good.
But caller, you recognize that the ICJ has indicated that it has jurisdiction to hear the matter, and that claims from Venezuela and Guyana could be presented to the International Court of Justice and a resolution be given. If Venezuela feels as though they have a claim to the land, then they could use the legal means to go through the court and present that claim. They have not even allowed the ICJ or that manner or that mechanism to be done. They haven't even allowed the ICJ or themselves to present on behalf of Venezuela to the ICJ and allow the court to make a decision. If it is that they had done that and then said, well, we don't agree with the court because the court, wherever, and then gone this way, you could have said, well, they exhausted all means. But they have not even tried to present the matter before the court.
Because it's not a court matter. It is not a court matter.
So what matter is it, sir?
The court is the problem.
What matter is it?
The court became a problem when it joined with the parties who decide to create boundaries, and the court defend that decision. The people, the court is a part of the problem, and the court will only escalate the problem because it is the same people you're going to the court is made up of Europeans, maybe Spanish, maybe French, wherever they be. It is those people who create the problem as it is. Well, we got one border is Spanish and we got one border is English.
That's your opinion, but I would disagree with that opinion.
It's not really an opinion.
But it's not fact
if you
either.
Think about it. How do you resolve a conflict?
But think about it.
Then getting the people together and we sit and we discuss.
But sometimes it doesn't work like that. We see that some conflicts do end up in a court of law.
Yeah, and even in our daily lives as citizens, if you have a grievance, you are encouraged to bring the matter to the court and the court solve it. Yeah. What you're saying, you're basically saying that somebody has to sit as the judges. They would represent whatever ethnicity. I mean, there has to be one. You understand? But you're coming from the standpoint that the court would be biased from the get-go without allowing...
Yes, you're quite right.
But they were both allowed to present their cases, weren't they?
But then
allow...
Then,
let me say this. Justice is fair. Justice is not a decision made when the judge says I'm guilty and I'm innocent. That is not justice. Justice is fear. The symbol in the law office, the symbol of Ma'at, that symbol of balance, is fear. To be fair, it is for you on that program to have somebody with enough proper true knowledge from Guyana sit with you and give us Guyana's side of the story. We have a Venezuela embassy here. You have that person come on your program and let us get both sides. Then a person like me ain't got to ask no question and wonder who or what. You listen to the people. It is only so we can move forward. Other than that, you know what we're saying? We're saying that let the war start, bring America in, and America gonna help Guyana, boom, out Venezuela. And I am saying we gonna can't drive, we gonna be hungry. Where would that put most of us?
Okay, that's your position, and I am saying, this is my position, I am saying that there are legal arguments for and against. Venezuela says that it has a legal right. Guyana says it has a legal right.
What is right and wrong?
But I'm saying
you
if both...
You got to engage the parties and hear what they are saying.
But that is...
But a ruling was handed down, and Mr. Maduro is not adhering to it. So is he right for saying he's going to develop...
Who program talk about Venezuela position? Who do you ever had on this program that give us a Venezuela position? We are being given a biased position. We only got one side.
We are saying.
Everything is on this one
But
side.
I don't think we're
And
deliberately trying to be
supposed to
biased.
judge that.
No, we're trying to be
No,
fair.
but caller, in all actuality,
We're Guyana side.
what? No,
You can't be one. It's like you are not. That is not justice. That is an unbalanced scale. You gone down bam.
okay, caller, you agree with Venezuela's position to ignore the court altogether?
I can't be. You say the court is a problem.
Okay, stop. So you agree with Venezuela's position to have a referendum to determine the matter?
Yeah. Ask the people what you think. Ask your people. Maybe Guyana need to have a referendum too. Ask your people.
I don't think Guyana need a referendum.
So you're saying that Venezuela should, in an international setting, between international players, be the only deciding factor as to what they claim and what they don't claim.
No. I'm not saying that. I am saying, let me clear it. Might does not make right. I am saying justice is fair. To go different is to cause a grievance on one side or the other. Why not, outside of all this talk, get the Guyanese, the real people, not just, no, get a real person from Guyana, get the president of Guyana and the president of Venezuela. Let us hear from both sides the root cause of this problem too. Go to the root.
Okay.
Not just yesterday issue.
Okay.
Get to the root.
Okay,
And
caller.
let us begin.
Caller,
to
before you
solve the
go,
problem.
we could try to do that, but in addition, we've had statements made by both parties in the international news. We've played that clip where the president of Guyana has indicated his position, and we've read articles where Venezuela authorities have indicated their position. We've seen what they are doing, but we will try it as much as possible to see if we could get a representative from both sides so they could speak to us. In addition to that, though, even if they do speak to us, I still submit that this is a legal matter, and the court is a proper avenue to come up with an amicable settlement or resolution to this legal issue.
Okay, just let me say this in closing, right? Now, you see the war in Israel? Hamas is a terrorist group. Israel is God's chosen people. That is the cause of the conflict. Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Okay, have a great day.
You too.
I'm surprised we have so many authoritarian types weighing in. I have a friend I'm talking to on WhatsApp, and he's like, well, the Israelis don't respect international law, so why should Venezuela?
Wow.
A lot of terrible takes today, and y'all know I love y'all, but
but it really goes out there to show that no matter what the issue is, they're going to have persons supporting one view or the other view.
And we respect that,
Yes.
but still, oh boy. Anyways.
okay, let's take the quick break. It's 9 minutes after 9 o'clock, and yeah, the phone lines are still going. Very very appropriate because it's Christmas time and the phone is looking like a Christmas tree right about now.
That's a good thing.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Attention all savvy shoppers. VAT days are right around the corner. But why wait? Get a head start now at Hosford. Take advantage of our exclusive pre-approved credit offer for VAT days on December 15 and 16. Head over to Hosford's Building and Nevis Center's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store today. And don't forget to swing by Hosford's auto sales event for the lowest interest rates on all brand new vehicles. Imagine Hosford's dropping major discounts and pre-approved credit when you shop now. It's that easy. Just visit any Hosford's department, make your VAT days wish list, and we'll take care of the credit check. Then come back on December VAT days to take home everything you pick with your pre-approved credit. Hosford's has you covered for furniture, appliances, or a brand new car on VAT day. Don't miss out. Get pre-approved credit now for VAT days in December at Hosford. Visit our stores for all the details. Terms and conditions apply. Hosford's, where your VAT day dreams come true. Hurry in today.
The Rotary Club of St. Kitts is pleased to announce the return of its free prostate screening clinic on Saturday, 13th January. Once again, we are collaborating with Dr. Dwayne Thwaites, Urology Associates, the Largemount Olive and Avalon Medical Laboratory. All men in the Federation, age 40 and over, are encouraged to come out on Saturday, 13th January to the Largemount Olive in Taylor's Range, Brasteur. Registration starts from 6 a.m. and closes at 2 p.m. Breakfast will be on sale. Ladies, encourage and bring your husband, partner, father, uncle, brother, male relatives, and friends to this free prostate screening clinic. Valid government issued photo ID required. General wellness checks will also be provided. So all men over 40, I'll see you on Saturday, 13th January at the Largemount Olive Taylor's Range, as early detection can save lives.
Calling all business persons. The Eastern Caribbean Partial Credit Guarantee Corporation will be in St. Kitts from Tuesday, December 5th to Thursday, December 7th to meet you in person at the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank's head office. There will also be a town hall meeting on Wednesday, December 6th, 2023 at the ECCB head office. Please check our Facebook page, ECPCGC, for registration details. See you there.
Dreaming of that perfect getaway? Hop aboard the Makana Ferry to the breathtaking islands of Saba, Statia, St. Martin, and St. Kitts. Embark on a delightful journey and enjoy sun-kissed beaches, vibrant cultures, and unforgettable experiences. Visit MakanaFerryService.com to book your island hopping adventure today.
Oh, we got the hip hop soul Christmas beats on deck. Got the phone looking like a Christmas tree.
Let's hear the callers. Let's hear their views, John.
I know, that's exactly what I was getting to. Caller, go right ahead. Wait, let's see. Caller, go right ahead. The phone goes from red to green. The colors of Christmas. Caller, go right ahead.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, good morning. What's
morning.
up?
Morning.
And good morning to the listeners from on the broadcast going here.
Yes, Carl.
Well, very interesting. Here we have Israel and Hamas situation developing.
Right in our very own space.
Eh?
Right in our very own space.
Right in our very own space. And here, what I am going to throw into the mix now. Where is the clubs, organizations that we have around here? What is OAS? What is CARICOM? What is OECS? What are they saying? What are they doing? How come they are not putting together a watchdog committee and bring all these sides together to get this matter worked out? It's going to end up just like the Haiti issue.
There was a statement, to my knowledge, based from CARICOM, a statement on the matter.
I would have seen that as
well. And what the statement and say, what actions they are going to be taking as the head organization of all of CARICOM?
Well, based on the statement, I think, I'm trying to look for it, but I think it was basically encouraging peace.
Peace, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
between
what
the
it was.
parties. The same thing that we're doing here.
Yeah. Everybody's talking before it becomes anything else. Everybody's asking Venezuela to be amicable.
That is why I just call them, these are just organized clubs. They are just clubs that have no performance.
But
all they do is talk, and our leaders go to them and just waste our tax dollars. Here is situation developing at home. Up to now, they can put no action committee, nothing together to dissolve or help dissolve, along with outside influence, the situation in Haiti. Here now we have Venezuela and Guyana, because this large amount of millions and billions of dollars of oil is found off some islands. Here we have another situation, and where is this? Talk shop again. Then we have the Hamas and Israel situation, pure talk shop, because not one of them, not even America, England, nobody is going to touch that situation down there in Israel and Hamas.
Carl, before you go on, I have an article here that was published on the 22nd of September 2023, which says statement by Caribbean community on Guyana-Venezuela border controversy. And in this article, it says the Caribbean community reiterates its full and unequivocal support for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, including its right to peacefully develop the resources of its territory.
I want us to take note. I want Cal.
Sounding words that usual coming
But
from
Cal,
the workshop
yes,
club.
Cal. But I need you to take note of the fact that the RSS agreement says that we have to come to the aid of any one of our members in the case of armed conflict. So that's just something to think about.
Thank you very much. You hear
So
what you say?
it can go from talk shop to hawk shop, hawk shop as in war hawks. It can go from talk shop to hawk shop really fast, especially the way things are going right now.
Yeah.
Well, listen. What is going to happen? As I told you when I start, we're going to have a Hamas and Israel with Venezuela and Guyana. Because all these clubs that we pay our subscription club fee into, all they do is just talk. Put out nice sounding words that most of us want to hear. To say, one of the club members say something. What about doing something, some action? Put a committee together. Put an interim person or group and get the two presidents together to sit down to the table and come to a solution. That is the action that we is looking for. We don't want no more talk shop. We've been having these talk shops for so many years, and nothing has resolved. All you have is people dying. You're losing people losing all the investment and everything. And what? All you hear is nice sounding words.
Well, Cal, you just hit the nail on the head without realizing it. It's going to go from talk shop to hawk shop. Here's why. You just said people have investments on the line.
Exactly.
You have American and multinational oil companies who have investments in Guyana. And trust me, Brazil, I'm sure Brazil has economic interests in
Brazil have a lot of investment.
Right. So
America.
trust me, this is not going to be a talk shop for very long if Mr. Maduro doesn't behave.
He needs to relax himself.
Hello, Maduro has taken up aggression a long time ago, and they went in there to try to put in the opposition leader as president. What has happened over all these years? Not zero, nada, talk shop. He's still president.
Yes, but you want
Remember they move all kind of battleships and all kind of things down close to Venezuela?
Yes, but that doesn't mean so we should just waltz. You think the Americans or whoever should just waltz in and overthrow Mr. Maduro?
No. I'm just showing you that all these things is just talk shop. They're not pulling nobody to. So what you want to tell me? All these club members, all these big head organizations that have all the investment down here, you're telling me they cannot get Maduro and they cannot get the president of Guyana, if not in the Caribbean, some country or nation outside to sit to the table and come to a solution to settle this matter?
You make it sound really simple. It's not that simple. This stuff is complex. I mean, look at all those sit downs that the Ukrainians and the Russians had at the start during maybe the first 6 months of the war. Where has that gotten them?
To a war.
Mr. Maduro already pronounced that the ICJ holds no weight with him.
No weight, none whatsoever.
So, I mean, how do you reason with someone like that?
Yeah, he hasn't even allowed the legal process to reach its full extent.
He just decides, I'm not about this
Yeah.
life.
No, he's not for that.
Exactly.
The court, them could say all what they want.
Yeah.
My thing is, so what you mean? The president of Guyana and Maduro cannot sit. Nobody could get them to meet him for 10 minutes or half an hour, sitting at a table in the same room.
Mr. Putin will probably give him some polonium to put in his tea or something. So,
But then, that's
a serious thing.
Yeah, but I am thinking that if such is a situation, they will have to meet on neutral territory, because it won't be safe for either party, I assume. I'm not saying between the officials, but in terms you don't know how the public.
Yes.
You know,
exactly.
The public itself, you don't know who's out there and who's angry, and so you'll have to, I suggest, some neutral territory between both
It
parties.
can't be he goes to Venezuela or Maduro comes to Guyana.
Yes.
Can't be.
Because you don't know. I'm not even
Somebody's
talking
not
about
gonna
the
go
authorities. I'm talking about the constituents, the citizens. You don't know who has an axe to grind,
Right.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Guys.
All right, Carl. Thank you for your contribution.
On to the next one. Caller, go right ahead.
Yes. I just Googled the International Court of Justice.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd be surprised when you do that to see who comprises that court. It's a UN organization, and it reflects pretty much how the UN operates, including the fact that you know how the big boys right at the top for the Security Council, UN Security Council, are comprised of the big powers. When you Google it, that's exactly what you see there.
But yeah,
Mr. Mahan. So when you ask, Azard, when you ask, shouldn't they deliver the justice you're talking about? I don't think. Yeah.
Mr. Mahan, before you continue, I mean, yes, it was established by United Nations as a branch, but the United Nations, at the end of the day, came about for world peace. That was the whole idea between the UN. And so it established a court that exercises that very mandate, peace. So, So, I mean...
how's that working out for the people of Gaza?
I mean...
They had a truce and they got back some hostages.
That is the whole point, right? Even though it's the United Nations, and generally you think that it reflects the nations of the world, the viewpoint of the nation of the world, there are certain countries that carry more weight than others. And this thing, when you ask, well, shouldn't the ICJ have be the final arbiter in this matter? How can you ask the court, the ICJ, to rule on whether or not it has jurisdiction?
But
that in itself.
But honestly, Mr. McMahon, courts rule all the time. Even the high courts here, the high courts here would rule whether or not they have jurisdiction to hear the matter, because you have counsel who come.
Don't you see that as conflict?
But the court must determine.
You're asking a court to disqualify itself.
But at all times, courts have determined, and courts have done it in the past, where they say they don't have jurisdiction over the matter. It's not always that they say they have jurisdiction.
Okay, so wait. The Titan of terrible takes, he can get in easily. I have another call. You can call back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when we look at it, isn't Venezuela a member of United Nations? But these are all member states of the United Nations. So I mean,
care.
At the end of the day, Mr. McMahon is making it seem as though the ICJ and the UN is a body outside of Venezuela.
Yes,
Venezuela isn't a part of the
Good morning, peace to you all.
Hey, good morning.
Go ahead.
Good morning.
Well, I just called to say, from a political point of view, I'm into politics. Right in St. Louis. As I know, me not German in my voice. My name is Linka Davidson.
Yes.
What I could say, this situation goes way back, over 200 years.
Yes, we have discussed that.
In 1989, a decision was made.
No,
1899.
It's Azard birthday.
In 1899. And if you realize that this is what long before Guyana became independent.
Yes.
And even President Ali said, let the court determine if the decision that was made then is correct and they will respect. Venezuela, to a certain extent, make comment because, both of them need peace. But for me as a politician, I know what war caused because I used to be a police officer. I had a number of training in different areas. And I've seen war in football. There's war going on. We benefit from both Venezuela and Guyana in many different ways. First, Venezuela is our friend, and they give the Caribbean a preferential thing. Guyana is a brother in character, and both in our collective history from the British. But you know what is very important? Peace. Because war brings two things. It brings a number of things, but it brings two things. Death and the destruction. Venezuela, yes, have equipment from the U.S., which is the F-16 and so forth, and Sukhoi from Russia. I guess the military hardware is bigger than Guyana because Venezuela has maybe 30-something million people compared to Guyana. Even though Guyana might have the assistance of the other country, this is one you have to bear in mind. The war will not be fighting on any other territory but Venezuela and Guyana. Therefore, the destruction and death will be Venezuelans and Guyana. The destruction of all those places will be Venezuela and Guyana. And then who might end up with the oil resource there? Nobody knows. Then we in the Caribbean as well will be affected in many different ways because we get products from there. So for me, from a political point of view, knowing what war is for the leaders, even if they start from junior officers to talk. This could include foreign ministry and most importantly, the defense. Let them talk because talking is very important. And then even if you want to leave it for the president to talk, to come to a decision, but it must be one of peace. Even if, yes, we have a fact that Venezuela have a referendum, it doesn't necessarily mean because the people gave a go-ahead, it will happen now. But if you have talking going on, talking could go on for 100 years. You know what we have? We still have peace. And the good thing about it, the Guyanese persons are living there. So, even if they want to, I'm just saying, let those people have their vote, something like the Falklands and so forth. And if it's something that the two sides could determine. If these persons decide they want to be Guyanese, let them be Guyanese. That is their choice. But my thing is for peace. Because destruction, and those destructions could go on for a long time. It's only in the best interest of the Venezuelans and the Guyanese and the entire region to maintain peace. Let us look at Ukraine. You see what is happening. Let us look at Israel. You see what is happening. Even other areas that have war. And for me, I believe in peace. Because I believe in building peace for them. Venezuela and Guyana are brothers and sisters. The only difference, the language barrier. How it started, some of you mentioned it before, how it started. So for me, it's peace. I will call upon the Venezuelan government and the Guyanese government. Somehow, put some mechanisms in place. And I'm also calling on our Prime Minister. I'm only saying this because I'm into politics. And I also care for life. But my words may reach a certain distance. But if our Prime Minister, our government says something, it might even reach further. Because remember, I'm in the opposition side. But the Prime Minister's voice might go along. These are our friends and Guyana, our brothers. Let us speak peace because peace not only benefits them, but it benefits us. Economically as well, and as well as development and traffic. Because believe it or not, we have Venezuelans live here, we have a lot of Guyanese live here. We trade with both, and our families, check it out, you see. You have Guyanese who the children born here, some of them marry in here, and so forth. So that is why it is important for us to speak peace. So, Mr. Maduro, Mr. Ali, I'm calling you on behalf of myself, my family, and the belief in God, and also in St. Kitts. And I know these leaders, because I hope both presidents speak about God. Let that be our guiding principle. Peace, talking. Talking is very important. But if you do not talk, you have a problem. Yes, it's good to have other persons involved, like other countries, but if those two persons who are actually in confrontation don't sit down and talk and have somebody there to listen to them to whatever they agree and actually bind it, you still have a problem. So get your teams together, foreign ministry, even if you want to get agricultural ministry, internal ministry, home affairs ministry, defense, and finally, the president to talk. But let's have the talking go on. Even if you go on for 100 years, what you're saying, we still have peace for 100 years. But that piece of land might be still in dispute. But the most important thing, no loss of life, no damage to property, but those countries to still develop and advance even with that land in dispute. But I hope they get it solved. And as you all mentioned, the court has a very important role to play. And let us hope, not only with the court, but with the leaders and their team discussing. Because when we go back to even to the Ukraine war, you realize that they say, the news has said, the defense ministers of Russia and Ukraine are talking. So that's my piece for us to really think about, and I hope the leaders from people from these two countries are listening to pass this message on, because the life they save could be their own, and the country they're saving is their own country. And we ourselves, we are saving our region. So I'm calling our prime ministers and the other prime ministers of the region, let us make sure, echo and get a loud voice for peace in our region, for our brothers and sisters down in Venezuela and Guyana. God bless St. Kitts and Nevis. God bless Guyana. God bless Venezuela. God bless everyone. Peace be to all. Peace be out to our region. Thank you very much for listening. Have a blessed day.
Thank you for your contribution, caller.
Thank you so much. So,
but I'm here wondering if they had talks, because prior to this, I would not have been.
I mean,
sorry about that. Just had to run outside to open the door for someone.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we have to realize Venezuela is a party. As Mr. Mahan indicated, yes, the ICJ is a part.
There's something I want to read for you all.
Okay.
It's from the New York Times article.
Go ahead, James.
I think it helps to put some of this stuff into perspective, because I have some friends on WhatsApp saying, for example, they thought the Americans would have been stronger in their statements, but this might. The Biden administration has tried to coax Venezuela into holding elections, relaxing some of the damaging American sanctions. In October, the government reached an agreement with the opposition on steps toward a vote, and it agreed last week that candidates who have been barred from running for office could appeal to that penalty to the country's top tribunal. You guys realize I'm out of breath. Had to run downstairs and and run back up. Okay, so then it goes on to say, but Mr. Maduro's government has also repeatedly undercut the opposition's ability to mount a meaningful challenge. More than 2.4 million Venezuelans voted in October in an opposition primary election for president held without official government support. Since then, the government has questioned the primary's legitimacy, has taken legal aim at its organizers, and has barred the winner of the primary, Maria Corina Machado, from running for office for 15 years, claiming that she did not complete her declaration of assets and income when she was a legislator. 3 of those Mr. Saab accused on Wednesday are members of Ms. Machado's political party who live in Venezuela. Since Mr. Maduro took power in 2013 after the death of Hugo Chavez, the combination of growing oppression, rampant corruption, and sanctions has made life much harder for ordinary Venezuelans, and millions have left the country. Under Mr. Maduro, international observers have called the country's elections illegitimate. With the allegations of treason, President Biden must decide whether to continue betting that sanctions relief will persuade Mr. Maduro to allow a real vote, said Jeff Ramsey, a senior fellow for Venezuela at the Atlantic Council. I think Maduro is really forcing Biden's hand here, he said. It's become clear that he can't win a free and fair election, so he needs Washington to snap back the sanctions to justify a crackdown that allows the regime to revert to the status quo. So you guys see.
We were saying earlier that the U.S. is trying to ensure that Venezuela has free and fair elections. So we were saying that previously that the U.S. is between a rock and a hard place, because in one aspect they're supporting Guyana's claim in terms of, and supporting the fact that they should go through the ICJ and everything like that. And on the other hand, they are trying to persuade with Venezuela to have free and fair elections next year.
But you do realize,
reduce some of those sanctions as a result.
You do realize though that those sanctions were also reduced as a result of the Ukraine war. So it was kind of So it was kind of a
to get something.
That's what they're very delegates. They have to be very delicate with their approach
because they
wanted a rock
wanted
and a hard place.
Yeah, they wanted Venezuela to make up some of the shortfall of oil that they would have been getting from Russia.
And this all shows the power of diplomacy in the same light, and because this is where voice speaking, negotiation is at its fullest in matters like these.
But does Maduro want to negotiate though? And what is he negotiating for? What?
Basically, in his mind, he already has a decision. He has already made a decision.
He's done with
and
it.
There's no other way to going back.
Yeah, he's over talking. He's over talking. They both went to the ICJ. They both presented their case, and he's done with it. That's the decision you'll make. Okay, I don't need to talk anymore.
Because if Venezuela was saying that no, the ICJ doesn't have jurisdiction, and yes, the ICJ, and they presented that case, they're saying, because Mr. McMahon, I understand how it looks academically, but it's not the first situation that the court has to determine whether or not it is an appropriate place to hear the matter. And there are situations where the court will determine, we're not the appropriate channel. We don't have jurisdiction over the matter. So it's not at all times the court would determine that they do have jurisdiction, but they have to listen to the merit of the case and determine whether or not they have jurisdiction. And also too, courts determine who has standing, whether or not a particular party has sufficient interest to bring a particular claim to the court. So all of these are applications that would be made. But it seems that Venezuela had a position, and Venezuela from the get-go was supporting, we're going to the court to tell them that they don't have jurisdiction in this matter. So they were okay to go in the court to say that they don't have jurisdiction. Exactly. But when the court determined that they do have jurisdiction, they say, no, we're gone. We ain't want to hear nothing else.
Exactly. Yeah, but I think from the inception he didn't want to go because, as he said, they don't have jurisdiction.
And that's the reason why he put forward the argument. Hey, the court is saying that we are going to hear the matter. And he's saying, no, you don't have jurisdiction, and we're going to present our case that you don't have jurisdiction.
You went there in the first place.
So he could tell them. So he could tell them
whether they had jurisdiction or not.
Exactly.
And when they said, yes, we do, he said, well, I gone out of here.
I don't want to hear it. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. So in the sense, he has already made up his mind. He has already come to a decision. It's like when perhaps you're in a bad relationship and the person on the other side say, well, I gone. No matter what you do at that point in time.
That's exactly my...
no matter what you do at that point in time, that person...
No matter what you say, I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm out.
I'm gone.
I don't care. I don't want to share. I don't want to hear. I am just going to be there and take what I think is mine anyways.
It seems that Venezuela has made up the position, and they have said it through their actions, through their words, and through the articles that we've read, that they have already said, go and start exploration. Exactly. Go and start exploitation.
You're the governor. You go ahead and be the governor.
This is crazy
give them ID cards.
This is exactly what Russia did in East Ukraine.
Yeah, because all of a sudden you just see persons start showing up. And I thought...
And you realize persons are bringing the matter. We are not even saying that we're not determining whether or not the matter, the lands belongs to Guyana. We're not saying whether the lands belong to Venezuela. We are saying that bring forth your arguments, present them, and allow a determination.
Talk.
Yes. So at the end of the day, it would have been to me, and perhaps from the get-go, you see that there was no real interest for negotiation or no interest to bring the matter to the court. And so it would have been interested for them to go through the process, for them to think, because persons go through the process in court all the time. They have their own in their mind what they want. And at the end of the day, the court makes a final decision. There are persons who would agree with the decision of the court, and there are persons who won't agree.
But Azard, I wonder if he was approached with talking before, and then he decided, I don't want to talk to you. Because most times, before matters get to the court, is that you would have tried speaking to the individuals, or there was a, let's say, what do we call the person in the middle? Arbitrator that would have tried, and then they see it can't work. So then they say, okay, take it to the highest point, which is the court. So maybe they tried to talk to him. This is just me assuming. I don't know. So I'm not gonna, so don't quote me wrong, please. Maybe they tried. He doesn't want to talk. He said, let's just take it to the court. He goes to the court. He's not pleased with the court because he knows the court is going to rule. He probably thinks the court would have ruled favorably in Guyana's side, but I don't think that's what the court is trying to do. The court is trying to maintain peace and let him know, just chill.
And then at the end of the day, there could have been some sort of arrangement between the parties going forward. No one is saying that if the matter had been brought to the, well, it was brought to the ICJ.
Yeah.
No one is saying that if a matter had been determined by the ICJ, that you would have said, Guyana, you're in favor. No one is even saying that. Because they have the opportunity has not even been presented for the court to make a determination on the matter.
All the court is telling them to do is to be at peace, and they're upholding the treaty. That both
and it was a
sides.
provisional measure.
Yeah.
And a provisional measure is not something that is permanent. It's saying, while we assess the matter and while you bring the matter to us, this is the order, provisional order, that everything remain as is until a final determination
is made. But he doesn't want the final determination. Elections is coming. He wants to be the big bad boss. But yeah.
So many things are happening.
Yeah.
All across the world.
Yep, all across the world.
We're going to take a short break.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Magnum, my brand. Everybody put a Magnum in the air now. From you a drink Magnum, make me see. Take charge of things now your place now. From the river to the beach to the street. Hot Magnum when me have in a me hand there. Give her a sip and she tell me sweet. Look for me watch for your quick time check. Yeah. Right now a Magnum for your beat. Enjoy yourself every day of the week with a Magnum. My life I forget sweeter. Must be 18 years and older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Merry Christmas from Rams, the good food people. Jingle bells, the hours are bright. Shopping at Rams is a true delight. Stock your pantry, spread the cheer. $50,000 of groceries for a year. Fruits and veggies, treats so sweet. Rams, the good food people can't be beat. The joy of giving with better prices in every aisle. Our team preparing. Fill your cart this holiday season and shop with Rams and win $50,000 in groceries for a year. Terms and conditions apply. See in stores for details. Happy holidays!
And we are back. It's 9:45. This dip out brought to you by Ram.
Look how calm he says that when we had such a heated thing.
Well, we need a little calm. We need a little calm.
I know. I just think.
Yeah.
So
Terrible Take Thursday.
Yes. So
and saying special good morning to the Titan himself, Ira McMahon.
there is someone who is saying that we are trivializing the century-old problem. If we here in SKN can't fix our problems, how can we solve global issues? When Venezuela took an island off Dominica as its own, we in the Caribbean took its oil. Now we should be unequivocally supportive of Guyana, full stop. Notice the European powers that created this problem in South America, vis-a-vis England, France, Holland, etc., which carved up the Guyanas as strangely silent.
Yeah. Caller, go right ahead.
Yeah, hello.
Hi,
Good
go
morning.
right ahead.
Yeah, I think Azard was just reading my text.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, the problem I'm having, right? We are saying, why can't we get the leaders of Guyana and Venezuela to sit down and try to come to some solution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good, great. What happened in St. Kitts and Nevis? When leaders of different parties try to sit down to try to solve problems, for example, between St. Kitts and Nevis, what's the pushback here? Somebody's crossing the floor. Somebody's trying to play smart. So it's not as easy as some of us would like it to be.
Amen.
The bigger point I'm trying to from my perspective, is that the problem that they're having in Guyana, again, comes from the colonial era. The Guyanas were carved up, just like how they carved up Africa, and I'm not saying to justify Venezuela's position, but they carved up the Guyanas, the Dutch, the French, the English, and these are the same countries you hear nothing, saying nothing about the situation right now, right? My problem is that we in this part of the world, we find ourselves again between a rock and a hard place. Venezuela becomes important to us because of the interest. We want their cheap oil. But Venezuelans are not interested in petitions. Guyanese are part of the Caribbean family. And I feel that a stronger statement, rather than, pussyfooting around the situation and saying we want peace. This is an era where bullies are right. Bullies see what is happening around the world, and this is the time that they're pressing their buttons in the different parts of the world. And so Maduro is playing that game. We keep, and sometimes the court is guilty of that too. They keep kicking the football down the road and saying, okay, do this, and then the matter doesn't come up until a 10-year period and another 15 years. And career politicians, play the game with them. Meanwhile, all of a sudden, Venezuela has newfound interest in Guyana. But Venezuela did that with, Bird Island a couple years ago, when they claimed that the island right off in the Eastern Caribbean belonged to them. And what did we do in the OECS? We went and we signed all kind of agreements to get cheap oil from Venezuela. Right? Next thing they're going to say, Booby Island belong to them too. So I am saying that we pay kind of lip service, and we are this is a big boys game. And I'm not saying we take a hands-off situation, but we should be unequivocal in our wholesale support of Guyana. That's my position with respect to that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your
call.
contribution.
And your contribution.
Great way. Yeah,
Yep.
and he's not wrong.
But how Bird Island? Where's Venezuela from Antigua again? How does Bird? Oh boy.
So he basically what he called is saying that Venezuela has shown a pattern of taking what they feel is theirs.
Listen, I lived in Antigua for 12 years, and I've not seen Venezuela being that close to Antigua, so I don't understand how Bird Island is theirs. But
I never understood that one either.
How is this from past colonial conquests?
He didn't say Dominica.
Yeah, well, it's off the coast of Dominica, and somehow
Antigua.
No, Dominica.
Yeah, Dominica.
It's off the coast.
Bird Island's off the coast.
Yeah. And Venezuela is claiming it. I've never listen. I'm not. I mean, I know I'm going to be going against grain. I was never really a fan of our involvement with Cuba and Venezuela. To be honest, I'm not. Was never a fan of the whole Cuba thing. And I'm not. Was never a fan of Venezuela because I mean, my thing. If you're, I'm not saying you can't have relations with these people, but I mean, we've kind of pedestalized people like Castro and Cuba and Venezuela because they give us stuff, and I don't think that's good enough.
As Cleo Rogers said here on the Facebook wall, he's a dictator, and dictators are not for peace, and that is correct.
You know.
That's sad.
Let's take this call. Caller, go right ahead. Hello, caller. Okay. On to the next. Caller, go right ahead. Wow. Phone is...
do you still have the Christmas tree effect happening over there?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
There's another one.
Okay, caller, go ahead. You're live on Island T.
Caller, go right ahead.
Yes, good morning to you guys. Right?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, this is a ticklish issue, huh? This Guyana-Venezuela issue.
Yes.
You know, what I'm seeing, you know, might is right. Might is right about now across the world. We can't just be looking at this issue and ignoring it. Venezuela might invade. You never know, because they don't watch what's going on around the world. They saw Russia invade Ukraine. Now the Israel-Hamas war. You know, these big boys are flexing the muscles. You know, Venezuela, they put some jets up in the sky the other day as a show of, you know, power, intimidation. But, you know, what I'm interested in, you know, is the historical context of this issue. You know, not until last weekend did I realize that when I listened to a program on WBAI in New York, you know, they brought forth more of the history of this conflict. And it goes back to the 1800s. And,
yes.
You know, for the listeners who's not knowledgeable about this issue, this dispute, you know, I'm more concerned of you guys bringing forth the historical context. Then let people decide. You know what I mean? Because no matter how you put it, there's always going to be 2 and 3 sides to the story. But the historical context is where the facts is going to lie. And that's why I'm more interested in hearing the historical context. You know, it's all good that we on one side, but what about the other side as well? As a lawyer, we know that there's a debate and there's challenges in court. There's a you know, like a plaintiff and a defendant.
Yeah.
It's two sides. It's two sides when you go into court. The court can't just be hearing one side. There's another side to this issue.
Yes.
The public got to hear the other side as well. You know what I mean? Have anyone of you guys ever have a friend that's doing wrong, and how easy or difficult it is for you to talk to that friend to point out that he's doing wrong? You know, in the Federation, I know a lot of cases that's going on there. There's no equal rights and justice, man. You know, a lot of people seen wrong and they're condoning it. They're not calling it out. And that's when the situation festers. You're kicking the footballs on the street every day. It festers. It gets worse, man. We can look at the artist P. Diddy in America right now. You know, all these women that's coming forward now with these lawsuits against him because when he was doing wrong, there was a set of people around him that was not calling him out. Now look at how much woes this man is in right now. At least 4 ladies already done came forward now and have a suitcase in court against this guy. There is always those people, they're hangers on, they're going to watch wrong being done, and they're condoning it. And that's where a lot of problems lie, bro. And I've seen a lot of stuff like this happening in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. The judicial system where the people that need their equal rights and justice, the judicial system is clogged up. You know what I mean? And if you don't have no equal rights and justice in a place, you know, the place isn't going to be a situation where people are going to be lashing out. and taking that jungle justice in their hands. You know, right in our own families, man, we have a lot of land disputes, a lot of property disputes in families in St. Kitts and Nevis. Why don't you guys come back and address that in one or two subsequent programs? Just as well as we have two big countries fighting over land, we have a lot of land disputes inside St. Kitts and Nevis, and it ain't being solved yet. Look around. You see a lot of properties in St. Kitts and Nevis that's dilapidated.
Mhm.
Why? A lot of disputes is lingering on and is not getting solved. But that's my contribution, man, and you guys have a good day.
Thank you so much. Continue to have a good day as well. Thank you. Thank you for weighing in.
On to the next.
Yes.
Caller, go right ahead.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan,
It's the
you have to
Titan-
tell
the Titan himself.
You have to tell the other callers your secret.
Listen,
some people say they never get in, and
the
Mr.
relationship
Mahan
with
gets
Cuba.
in. Almost.
The relationship with Cuba,
Mhm.
right?
Yes,
is
go ahead.
Because of the fact that they have demonstrated their commitment to the region and to the struggles of our race. They're the ones while we were just talking it, they were the ones who went into the liberation struggles in Africa and shed blood. And they did the same thing in Grenada, right? So I wouldn't just dismiss their contribution, okay? It explains why so many people, some may call it a romantic relationship, but it explains why most of us are sympathetic to Cuba, okay? They have demonstrated a commitment, okay? Venezuela, not so much. They obviously were considering their own interests. It's less ideological there. But just in terms of consensus, for looking at the whole morning's discussion on this, it boils down to, do we want war or peace? I think Pell said it right. Do we want war or peace? If you want peace, well, you don't make peace with your enemies by going to war with them, okay? You talk to them. And I think that is what we should be encouraging at this point. That at all levels, you have discourse from the top to the bottom, from the leaders right down, okay? So that we can get to this without the ravages of war. Because nobody wants that, or well, most people don't want that.
But does it seem like Mr. Maduro wants to talk, Mr. McMahon?
Have you approached him?
Well, I haven't spoken to him.
Well,
but I'm just saying.
Have Guyana
But
I don't know, but I'm just asking from his actions that you will have seen. Do you think he's someone that wants to talk?
But
no,
listen.
You cannot assume that. You have to, the leaders have to come up with a set of proposals that will diffuse the situation.
It's not unreasonable.
Again, look at the alternative. What is the alternative?
But then, Mr. McMahon, you see that he was okay with going to the court to say that they didn't have jurisdiction. When the court decided that they do have jurisdiction, he now leaves that court and is saying that he's going to the referendum. Does his action look like someone who wants to speak?
That is not the point. That is not. You don't look. You have to talk to your enemies.
But it's not.
Otherwise,
some enemies don't want to talk to you.
Your enemies must be open to listen.
But also, it's not unreasonable to assume based on his actions that he doesn't want to speak because Azard. No, but Azard just outlined what happened with the ICJ.
That's not how you negotiate. The fact is, right? You can't tell me that the president of Ghana would not come up with a set of proposals, right, that Maduro would not be interested in.
He's not interested. He wants it all for himself.
People assume, you just assume that he's not interested. Maduro can't expect to just march into Ghana and take
what is he doing?
If that happens,
1 minute.
Okay? If that happens.
What has he been doing? What has he done?
Exactly. Mr. McMahon fell asleep today. Have you seen the headlines?
And the terrible take Thursday edition of Island Tea.
Exactly. So he has not gone in yet.
But he has already started to encourage persons to explore and exploit.
He already has a governor. He already wants to give Guyanese Venezuelan citizenships. We don't want it.
And it's 10 o'clock, and that's our titan of Terrible Takes on Terrible Take Thursday. It's the Thursday edition of Island Tea. Get it? Tea, Terrible Take.
Oh, yes.
Thursday tea. Yeah.
Alliteration.
Mr. Mack, you know we love you, but no, we're not having that garbage you're talking today. I'm sorry.
We welcome your contribution. We will agree. We'll agree to disagree. Okay? We'll agree to disagree.
Yes,
and
it's
as
it's
we
10 o'clock.
conclude, you guys, it's 10 o'clock. And before
Yeah.
Jamso kicks us out, we're going to say, guys, we're leaving. We had an excellent discourse.
Yep.
And join us tomorrow. Kortensia, you want to say anything?
I want to leave the day with a lovely quote. Every journey is different. One thing at a time. Celebrate small wins. Honor your feelings. Make someone smile. Yeah, and that comes from our mindfullife.com. So let us be more than thoughtful today, but let us understand that each journey is different.
Nice. Is there any tea left?
Unfortunately, our tea
It's
was
all
that good. I
done?
think our mug is
Yeah,
done.
We had turmeric, ginger, and black pepper.
Black pepper and a full mug too, eh?
I was going to come over there and have some.
The only day that
He
it's
wants-
finished.
No, I wanted to come yesterday, but I forgot.
Okay.
I forgot. I wanted to come over there for some. I forgot.
It's always when the well is dry, they want to come over, you know. Woo.
Okay.
Have a great day, St. Kitts and
and
Nevis.
clearly I have a terrible take on tea as well, so I'm going to shut up. Okay, guys, have a great day. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, well, no, not Kortensia. Have a nice weekend.
Yeah,
Thank
have a nice
you.
Have a nice long weekend.
Yep. See you guys
Yes.
next Tuesday.
Okay.
Tomorrow
Great.
is we
Mishi.
have Mishi. Yeah.
Mishi.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Magnum, my brand. Everybody put your magnum in the air now.